Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Reinforce the stage. Let's get up here, do the best we can. The 1977 Cheema Canoe Team, ladies and gentlemen. Your water. Yeah, you do.
Come on. Come on, team. Get up here. Spread around the stage.
Will that help you? Will that do it?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. When I talk to you. Yeah.
Turn the ball game off.
Need some on this side. Here we go.
Squeeze behind you. Oh no, here we go.
All right, I think we got him. Let's try to at least crane ahead so you can see what's on the video screen. Here's more on Cheema 77, folks.
1969, the year the Cheema Aquatic Club hit the water for the first time. A well-known CBC sportscaster had a front row seat when it all came together.
I was working in the newsroom of the CBC at the time, and one of my cameramen was John Benjamin, who lived in Waverley. And he came up to me one night and he said, of all your jock buddies, do you know of anybody in paddling? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. I said, my roommate is Frank Garner. I said, why? And he said, we're thinking of forming a canoe club in Waverley, and we're looking for a coach.
When Armitage mentioned the idea to Garner, Frank jumped at the opportunity, and a new paddling dynasty had its skipper.
The kids had no paddling background, the bulk of them, and Frank was able to come in and say, this is my way, this is the way we do it, and of course they were very successful from the get-go.
So successful, in fact, that 8 short years later, on the home lake of the Bannock and Micmac canoe clubs, Cheema did something that no Atlantic team had done before. They won a national title, and paddling on Nova Scotia would never be the same.
I would have been about 1 year old in 1977, but what I know from this group of individuals is they were small and mighty and powerful. So by them winning and just standing out and claiming that national championship, really set a precedent, and it just solidified that you know, we're here. Nova Scotia is proud, we're here, we're a force. And I think that inspired not only the Cheema members, but so many of the rival clubs in the area. So, you know, that they could just dream bigger. And I think that piece, like once someone does it once, then everyone else has that goal to attain, and it becomes the next mark.
And I think Cheema showed the way that you could start a club from rock bottom, attract the kids, turn the kids into winners and champions, and I think Cheema did that, and it opened the door for paddling. There wouldn't be a national paddling center in Nova Scotia now if it weren't for the likes of Cheema.
I really think that 1977 club was the turning point, the pinnacle kind of at the time in terms of achievement on the water, but it laid the groundwork for all the big dreams that were to come. And I know when I started kayaking at Cheema, my first coach was Ann Dodge and Heather Dunbar and many of those athletes that are here tonight. And they inspired not only me, but a whole generation of kids to paddle and to just put their best effort on the water, and the whole concept of just working hard at your goals.
The Cheema Canoe Club, national champions in 1977. And tonight, 40 years later, our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
All right, to present the plaque, one of Cheema's most successful coaches and athlete developers, Chum Lederovsky. The pin, one of Cheema's most accomplished athletes, Karen Furno. Come on up, and we're going to give this to Frank for now, and the rest in just a bit. We good? You got him. Thanks, Karen. All right, Coach. You know what? I was gonna read the names, but I think the coach should read the names. You got them? Yeah. Let's hold applause till the end.
Frank Garner.
Frank, here. Hold the mic.
Hold the mic. Okay.
There you go.
Rebia Hutt is representing her late husband. He was our Commodore of that time. Bob Hutt passed away. Ann Dodge is Ann Dodge, of course, Olympian. Our team manager was her father, Charles L. Bud Dodge, who was probably one of the biggest influences in my life in doing all kinds of things. Bud was a pretty special guy. Our coaches, Ron Orton, Bill Lobin, and Jan Burley's here representing her father, Lloyd Burley, who just passed away last year. We're losing our people, unfortunately, but I guess it's 40 years later. The team members, Debbie Bald Carr now. With the ladies, I got to be careful, right? Don Bryan, who another Olympian and world champion, and on and on. On this stage, there's world champions, there's North American champions, Commonwealth, Canada Games champions. I mean, it's just an amazing set of people that are standing in front of you. Sorry, I don't want to. Where'd I get lost?
No, right there, Richard Clark.
I know.
Don't forget me,
Richard. You can't forget Richard, believe me. I do have a story later about Richard. Alan Dutai, Elizabeth, listen, sisters, brothers, cousins. Elizabeth Drew, Jane Drew, Nancy Drew. Guess what? All sisters from a small community. Nelson Drysdale, Allison Fair, Leslie Fennerty, my sister-in-law. She was 13. I don't know how many 13-year-olds she was in that winning war canoe. I'm getting lost. Careful, Leslie. Joy. Oh, Joy Williams. They've got her last name, and I don't know what her last name is. Anyway, she's Joy Williams to me. Cynthia Weir to me. Cynthia Hoskins. Brian Keeble. Scott Logan. Alan McDonald. David McNaughton, Alan McNaughton, again, brothers, Sue Visco. McNaughton, she married, I mean, a lot. My wife, met her in a war canoe. Go figure. I was coxing. She was right in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm stealing your.
Just read the names.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yep. Randy McDonald, Loretta Mullen, Anne Murray, Dave Murray, brother, sister. Charles Brian O'Leary. I didn't know it was Charles. Brian O'Leary. Mike O'Leary. Colleen McDonald O'Toole. Dave Pelham. Donnie Robertson. Danny Viney. Greg Walker. Nancy Walker, brother, sister. Coral Wickstrom. Steve Wickstrom, brother, sister. And Sherry Wise. Not able to join us tonight. Ian Crowley. Joanne Lobin. Gail. She changed her name too. She was Gail Wood. Gail McMillan, Vincent Mullen, Tom Pelham, Ian Ramsey, and Coach Rick Wood.
Well, that was longer than a war canoe race. Anyway, let's have a hand for Cheema 77. So the first Atlantic canoe team ever to win a national title. Give me one memory above any other that stands out to this day for you.
For me, I mean, I've been fortunate because I have been able to go to, this will be my 9th Olympics coming up. I went as a coach, and I went as an official, and I maintained as an official. But to be honest with you, the proudest moment of my life was with this team in 1977. I mean, we were 8 years old as a club. As you heard Steve say, you know, he helped, you know, send me out there with this young group of people from Waverly and Fall River, and we let a few people from Dartmouth come. And look what they did. This was a young group. This was 40 years ago. And it was a young group. They didn't know how to lose. And I wouldn't let them lose. And they just, you know, I heard intensity all night and you know, that passion. And that's what these young people had. And that's my proudest moment, winning that big burgee. I slept under it, by the way, that night. Jerry Fogarty phoned me the next morning, got me out of bed. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sleeping under the burgee." That was what it was called, the burgee. I slept under it, yeah. So that's what I'm proud of.
Glad you explained what the burgee was. This took a dramatic turn all of a sudden. You've seen this sport over 40 years. 40 years. You must have seen some changes. What are a couple?
Well, you know what, in sport and I guess the culture in general, the political correctness that has changed, and has changed in a good way. It should be so. But I want to say this with all due respect, but I had to speak to some, this is 40 years ago, and I did have to speak to some of them that things have changed. So there were 3 things. No streaking this weekend. No mooning. And no, absolutely no Olympic sit-ups, if you know what they are. Bruce,
Is that like sleeping under a burgee, or?
no. Bruce, now, Richard, Bruce wants to know what Olympic sit-up is, and if he really wants to know, we'll show you later.
I'll take a pass. Don't really need to know what the... I want to go talk to David McNaughton. How about that? I'm going to slide over here. David. Good, buddy. C2 for you, right?
C2, yes, and C1 also, yeah.
Yeah. What are your big memories of that special time 40 years ago?
Boy, I'll tell you, it's just the camaraderie and just the value of family. That's what I really learned. We were just one big family. We were more brothers and sisters, and Frank was the Grand High Exalted Poobah, and we all you know, tried to do what he told us. He worked us pretty hard, but we just, you know, we kidded each other. We had just lots of fun. That's what I remember from back in the Burgee days. And I remember when the club first opened, we came a long way, Frank, from a flying club on Lake William to a house on the lake that the Cheema Club's on now, working out of the basement. And then we got the Hilton, the little metal building. But it's glad to see how things have evolved, and I'm just so honored and humbled to be here.
Well, good stuff. Where's our friend Nancy? Nancy, I'll go over to you here. Let's go this side. Same sort of question, but I think you were war canoe and kayak?
Yes.
Yeah. What stands out for you 40 years later?
I think the war canoe is still the big boat at the club, and I think it means a lot to anyone that's ever paddled it. It's a big team. That day that we won, I'd been paddling war canoe for 8 years, probably. Won seconds and thirds and fourths, but never first, and that sort of set the club on fire that day. So I think it still does. It still does. When you watch a war canoe race, everyone just goes crazy.
What about the sense of pride? Because the big clubs back then, I have read, were Banook and Micmac, and you were the new kids on the block from Cheema. There must have been phenomenal pride of what you pulled off on Lake Banook, right?
Of course.
Yeah. You can brag a little.
Yeah. Well, I think that over the years, from when the club first started in the first year in 1969, and most of us as young kids didn't have anything in Waverly to do, so the club just kept building. And you know, my older brother Greg paddled, and I just wanted to do what he was doing. And you know, there was a motley crew of people there, but I think we could show up the Dartmouth crews pretty well in lots of different ways. Mm-hmm. Some we probably won't talk about.
Olympic sit-ups, way better to forget it. Yeah. So this was the group that set the scene, set the pace, pioneers, and as Karen Furno said, They taught everybody you could dream big and get something done. So congratulations to Cheema, 1977, ladies and gentlemen.